The crisp mountain air carried the scent of pine and damp earth as Alex stepped onto the trailhead, his backpack slung over his shoulder. Beside him, Sarah's eyes gleamed with excitement, her fingers interlaced with his as she took in the sweeping vistas of the national park. "Can you believe we're finally here?" she said, her voice tinged with awe. "I've been dreaming of this trip for months." Alex gave her hand a gentle squeeze, flashing a reassuring smile. "I know. It's going to be an adventure, that's for sure." He turned to address the rest of the group, Mike, Lily, and David, who were busy checking their gear and supplies. "All right, everyone ready?" Alex called out. "Remember, stick to the trails, keep an eye out for wildlife, and let me know if you see anything suspicious. This park has a bit of a reputation." Mike let out a derisive snort. "Reputation, huh? I thought you said this place was completely safe." Lily rolled her eyes. "Oh, come on, Mike, where's your sense of adventure?" She hoisted her backpack onto her shoulders, her face alight with anticipation. David, the most tech-savvy of the group, adjusted the straps of his pack, his brow furrowed with a hint of concern. "I don't know, you guys. I've been reading up on this place, and the stories about disappearances are pretty unsettling." Alex raised a hand, cutting off the building tension. "Look, I know there have been some issues in the past, but the park rangers have assured me that the trails are well maintained and the campsites are completely safe. As long as we stick to the rules and stay alert, we'll have an amazing time. This is going to be a weekend to remember, I promise." With a deep breath, he turned and headed down the trail, the others falling into step behind him. Sarah squeezed his hand, her eyes filled with trust and excitement. Mike and David exchanged a wary glance, but Lily bounded forward, her laughter echoing through the dense forest. As they hiked, the landscape transformed around them, the well-worn path winding through a maze of towering pines and rugged rock formations. Alex pointed out the signs of wildlife, a scurrying chipmunk, a distant bird call, the faint tracks of a deer in the soft soil. Sarah marveled at the lush greenery and the way the sunlight filtered through the canopy, casting a warm glow over everything it touched. "Isn't it breathtaking?" she breathed, her eyes drinking in the natural beauty. Mike, however, remained skeptical, his gaze constantly scanning the shadows for any signs of danger. "I still can't believe you talked us into coming out here. What if something happens?" Lily, undeterred by Mike's apprehension, bounded ahead, her laughter ringing out. "Stop worrying, Mike. This is going to be the best weekend of our lives." David fell into step beside Mike, his expression pensive. "I don't know, you guys. I've been reading all sorts of stories about this place. Disappearances, strange sightings, even rumors of some kind of supernatural entity. I'm not so sure we should be out here." Alex paused, turning to face the group. "Listen, I know the park has a reputation, but the rangers have everything under control. We're going to have an amazing time, I promise. Now let's keep moving. We still have a ways to go before we reach the campsite." As they pressed on, the trail grew steeper and more challenging, forcing them to focus on their footing. The air grew cooler, the sunlight filtering through the trees in a more muted glow. Sarah instinctively moved closer to Alex, taking comfort in his steady presence. Finally, they reached the designated campsite, a secluded clearing nestled between towering pines. Alex surveyed the area, nodding with satisfaction. "All right, everyone, let's get set up. Remember, keep your food and scented items properly stored and don't wander off too far from the camp. We don't want any unexpected visitors." The group quickly sprung into action, pitching their tents and organizing their supplies. As they worked, the setting sun cast long shadows across the clearing, lending an air of mystique to their surroundings. Once their camp was established, Alex gathered the group around the crackling fire pit. "Okay, listen up. I know some of you are a little uneasy about the park's reputation, but I promise we're going to be just fine. We're well prepared, we've got plenty of supplies, and we're going to stick together. This is going to be a weekend to remember, I can feel it." Sarah leaned against him, a warm smile on her face. "I can't wait. This is exactly what we all need. A chance to unwind and enjoy the great outdoors." Mike, however, still looked unconvinced. I have a bad feeling about this, you know? What if something happens? What if we can't get help?" Lily nudged him playfully. "Lighten up, Mike. We're here to have fun, not worry about every little thing. Besides, Alex knows what he's doing. We're in good hands." David nodded slowly, his gaze fixed on the dancing flames. I guess you're right. I just hope we don't regret this. As the shadows lengthened and the fire crackled, the group settled in for the evening, their laughter and conversation echoing through the clearing. But beneath the jovial atmosphere, a sense of unease lingered, like the calm before a storm. As the last embers of the campfire flickered and died, casting long shadows across the clearing, the group settled into their tents for the night. Alex and Sarah shared one, while Mike, Lily, and David occupied the other two. Despite the tranquil surroundings, a pervasive sense of unease hung in the air, like a whisper just beyond their comprehension. Lily tossed and turned in her sleeping bag, unable to find a comfortable position. The forest seemed unusually quiet, save for the occasional rustling of leaves and the distant hooting of an owl. She strained her ears, trying to pick up any unusual sounds, but the night was eerily still. Beside her, Mike let out a frustrated sigh. "Can you hear that?" he whispered, his voice tense. Lily paused, her breath catching in her throat. At first she heard nothing, but then a faint, indistinct noise drifted through the darkness, a low, almost guttural sound that sent a shiver down her spine. "What is that?" she breathed, her eyes wide with apprehension. Mike shook his head, his face etched with concern. "I don't know, but it doesn't sound good. We shouldn't be out here, Lily. Maybe we should pack up and leave in the morning." Lily hesitated, weighing the options. A part of her was tempted to heed Mike's warning, but another, more curious part of her yearned to uncover the mystery of the park. "Come on, Mike," she replied, trying to keep her voice low and steady. "You're just being paranoid. It's probably just some wildlife. We'll be fine." Before Mike could respond, a series of unexpected noises erupted from the surrounding forest. A sudden rustling in the bushes, the snap of a twig, and the faint sound of footsteps. Both Lily and Mike went completely still, their hearts pounding in their chests. "Did you hear that?" Mike whispered, his voice barely audible. Lily nodded, her mouth suddenly dry. "Yeah, I heard it. What do you think it is?" The two friends held their breath, straining to catch any further sounds. For a moment the forest was once again cloaked in silence, and Lily began to wonder if she had imagined the whole thing. But then a soft thud echoed from just outside their tent, followed by the unmistakable sound of leaves crunching underfoot. Mike's face paled, and he reached for the flashlight beside him, his hand trembling. "That's it. I'm going to check it out." "Wait, Mike, no!" Lily hissed, grabbing his arm. "What if it's dangerous? We should stay put and wait for the others to wake up." But Mike was already unzipping the tent, his expression set with determination. "I need to know what's out there. I can't just sit here and wonder." Lily watched in dismay as Mike slipped out of the tent, the beam of his flashlight cutting through the darkness. She held her breath, her heart pounding in her ears as she waited for him to return. Seconds ticked by like hours, and just when she was about to call out for him, the sound of a startled yelp pierced the night. "Mike," Lily cried, scrambling out of the tent, her own flashlight clutched tightly in her hand. She swept the beam of light across the clearing, her eyes frantically searching for any sign of her friend. The campsite was eerily quiet, save for the rustling of leaves and the distant hooting of an owl. Lily's breath caught in her throat as she spotted a dark shape lying on the ground, partially obscured by a bush. "Mike?" she whispered, her voice trembling. She slowly approached the figure, her flashlight illuminating a pair of legs clad in familiar khaki pants. With a pounding heart, she stepped closer, only to let out a relieved gasp as she recognized Mike's face, his eyes wide with fear. "Lily, get back in the tent," he hissed, his voice barely above a whisper. "There's something out there, something _wrong_." Lily opened her mouth to respond, but a sudden crashing sound from the tree line stopped her in her tracks. Her breath caught in her throat as a dark, hulking shape emerged from the shadows, its movements fluid and unnatural. Instinctively, she shone her flashlight in its direction, the beam catching a glimpse of what appeared to be a towering humanoid figure with a distorted, animalistic face. Lily stifled a scream, her legs rooted to the spot in pure terror. The creature seemed to sense her presence, and it turned its head, its eyes glinting with an eerie intelligence. For a moment, the two locked gazes, and Lily felt a chill run down her spine, as if the very essence of her being was being scrutinized. "Lily, get back to the tent now," Mike hissed, his voice strained with fear. Snapping out of her trance, Lily turned and bolted back to the safety of the tent, her heart pounding in her ears. She slipped inside, zipping the flap shut behind her, and huddled in the corner, her hands trembling. "What was that?" she whispered, her voice quivering. "Did you see it?" Mike nodded, his face ashen. "Yeah, I saw it. I don't know what the hell it was, but it wasn't human. We need to get out of here, Lily. This place, it's not safe." Lily's mind raced, her thoughts jumbled. She wanted to believe that it was all just a figment of their imagination, a trick of the light, but the sheer terror she had witnessed in Mike's eyes told her otherwise. "What about the others?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "We can't just leave them." Mike shook his head, his expression grim. "I don't know, Lily. I don't know what's out there, but I'm not sticking around to find out. We need to go. Now. Before Lily could respond, a sudden commotion erupted from the other tents, followed by a series of startled cries. Lily's heart sank, and she and Mike exchanged a terrified glance, their faces etched with dread. "Alex, Sarah, David," Lily called out, her voice trembling. "Is everything okay?" The only response was a deafening silence, broken only by the sound of the wind rustling through the trees. Lily and Mike huddled in the tent, their fingers clutching the fabric of the walls, as they waited with bated breath for any sign of their friends. The night seemed to stretch on endlessly, the shadows growing longer and darker with each passing moment. Lily's mind raced with 1,000 terrifying possibilities, each one more chilling than the last. What had happened to the others? Were they in danger? And what was that _thing_ they had seen? As the first faint glimmers of dawn began to peek through the trees, Lily and Mike remained trapped in their tent, their nerves frayed and their trust in one another strained. The once idyllic adventure had taken a dark and unsettling turn, and the friends found themselves facing a formidable unknown force that threatened to consume them. When the first golden rays of dawn finally broke through the trees, Lily and Mike emerged cautiously from their tent, their eyes scanning the eerily quiet campsite. The other tents remained eerily still, and an ominous silence hung in the air, broken only by the distant call of a lone bird. "Alex, Sarah, David," Lily called out, her voice trembling. "Are you guys okay?" No response. The unearthly stillness seemed to press in on them, amplifying their growing sense of dread. Mike's face was etched with a mixture of fear and determination. "We need to find them," he said, his voice low and tense. "Something's wrong, Lily. Really wrong." Lily nodded, her heart pounding in her chest. "I know, but what if—" She hesitated, the unspoken words hanging heavily between them. Mike placed a hand on her shoulder, his grip firm. "We have to at least try. Come on, let's start searching the camp." Steeling their nerves, the two friends began cautiously combing through the campsite, their flashlights cutting through the lingering shadows. The tents were undisturbed, their contents neatly organized as if their occupants had simply vanished. "This doesn't make any sense," Lily murmured, her brow furrowed with confusion and worry. Where could they have gone? Mike shook his head, his expression grim. "I don't know, but I have a feeling we're not going to like the answer." As they continued their search, a growing sense of unease began to settle over them. The forest seemed to have taken on a sinister quality, the once familiar sounds now tinged with an unsettling undertone. Lily couldn't shake the memory of the monstrous figure they had glimpsed the night before, and the mere thought of it sent a shiver down her spine. Do you think that thing had something to do with this?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Mike's jaw tightened. "I don't know, but I'm starting to think we should just get the hell out of here. This place is giving me the creeps." Lily opened her mouth to respond, but a sudden movement in the trees caught her eye. She froze, her grip tightening on the flashlight as she stared intently at the spot where she had seen the disturbance. "Did you see that?" she hissed, her eyes wide with fear. Mike followed her gaze, his own flashlight trained on the trees. "Yeah, I saw it. Stay close to me, Lily." They inched forward, their senses on high alert. As they approached the tree line, Lily's breath caught in her throat. Partially obscured by the underbrush, she could make out a dark, twisted shape, the same monstrous figure they had encountered the night before. "Mike, we need to go," she whispered, her voice trembling. "We need to get out of here. Now. But before they could make a move, a sudden rustling sound came from behind them, causing them both to whirl around in alarm. Lily swung her flashlight around, the beam illuminating a series of strange, indistinct tracks in the soft earth. What is that?" she breathed, her heart pounding. Mike's face had gone ashen. "I think we need to find out what's going on here. These tracks, they're not from any animal I've ever seen." Lily's eyes darted from the tracks to the ominous shape in the trees, her mind racing. "You can't be serious, Mike. We need to leave. _now_. Whatever's out there, it's not natural, and I don't want to stick around to find out what it is." But Mike was already moving forward, his curiosity overriding his fear. "Come on, Lily. We have to at least try to figure out what happened to the others. They're our friends and we can't just abandon them." Lily watched in dismay as Mike followed the strange tracks, his flashlight beam cutting through the gloom. With a resigned sigh, she hurried to catch up with him, her own trepidation warring with the need to find their missing companions. As they delved deeper into the forest, the landscape became increasingly rugged and inhospitable. The trees grew thicker and more twisted, their branches reaching overhead like grasping claws. Lily couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched, that unseen eyes were tracking their every move. Suddenly, Mike stopped in his tracks, his face etched with a mixture of horror and fascination. "Lily, look at this." Lily followed his gaze and felt her stomach lurch. Partially obscured by a tangle of roots and undergrowth, they found a series of disturbing items: a cracked pair of glasses, a torn piece of fabric, and a small, battered backpack. "Those are David's," Lily whispered, her voice trembling. "And that's Sarah's shirt." Mike's expression was grim. "I think we just found out what happened to them." Lily felt the blood drain from her face, her heart racing. No, this can't be happening. They can't be _gone_." Mike placed a comforting hand on her shoulder, his own eyes shining with unshed tears. "I'm sorry, Lily, but we need to keep moving, see if we can find any more clues." Forcing back her tears, Lily nodded, her determination hardening. Okay, let's go." As they pressed on, the forest seemed to close in around them, the air growing thick and stifling. Lily couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched, that unseen eyes were tracking their every move. Suddenly, a faint sound reached their ears, a distant, haunting call that sent a shiver down their spines. "What was that?" Lily whispered, her voice barely audible. Mike's expression was grim. "I don't know, but I have a feeling we're about to find out." They followed the sound, their flashlights cutting through the gloom, until they came upon a small, secluded clearing, and there in the center, they found a sight that made their blood run cold. Scattered on the ground were the remnants of a campfire, the ashes long cold. But it was the strange, twisted markings etched into the earth that caught their attention, a series of bizarre, hieroglyphic-like symbols that seemed to pulse with an unearthly energy. What is this?" Lily breathed, her eyes wide with fear and fascination. Mike shook his head, his face pale. "I have no idea, but I don't think we should be here." As they stared at the strange markings, a sudden movement in the trees caused them to whirl around, their flashlights searching the shadows. And there, lurking just beyond the tree line, they caught a glimpse of the same monstrous figure they had seen the night before. Lily felt her heart leap into her throat, and she gripped Mike's arm, her fingers digging into his flesh. "We need to get out of here. _now_." Mike nodded, his own face etched with terror. "You don't have to tell me twice. Let's go." Without another word, the two friends turned and fled, their footsteps pounding against the soft earth as they raced back towards the campsite. Lily's mind raced, her thoughts a jumbled mess of fear and desperation. What had happened to their friends? And what was that? That _thing_ that had stalked them in the darkness? As they reached the clearing, they paused, their chests heaving, their eyes scanning the area for any sign of the others. But the camp remained eerily silent, the tents standing like silent sentinels in the morning light. Lily turned to Mike, her face etched with determination. "We can't leave them, Mike. We have to find them no matter what." Mike hesitated, his expression torn. "Lily, I don't know if that's such a good idea. Whatever's out there, it's not natural, and I don't think we stand a chance against it." "We have to try," Lily insisted, her voice trembling. "They're our friends, Mike. We can't just abandon them." Mike let out a heavy sigh, his shoulders slumping in resignation. "All right, fine. But we need to be careful, and we need to stick together. I'm not losing you, too." Lily nodded, her grip tightening on her flashlight. "Okay, let's go. And Mike, thanks." With a deep breath, the two friends set out once more, their footsteps heavy with dread, but their hearts filled with a desperate determination to uncover the truth and save their missing companions, no matter the cost.